Hey guys, Mr. Kennedy back with another video. We're on our last unit and we're going to have an introduction into ecology. Now, ecology comes from the Greek word meaning oikos, which is home, and logos, which means to study. So it's a study of home, which is basically, the formal definition is the scientific study of interactions between organisms and the environment. It's basically how everything interacts with not only other living organisms, but also with the environment around itself. Now, one thing that impacts our ecology or ecosystems are climate. Climate's the most significant influence to where organisms are distributed in land and in water. Climate can be affected by temperature, the amount of rainfall, sunlight, or even wind. And we can actually break climates down into two different types, into macroclimates and microclimates. Macroclimates are on a global scale. You know, you were talking about affected by the seasons, the amount of water, if they're near an ocean or not, or near a mountain range or whatever. You know, the climate on a large scale, the United States climate, for example, or North Carolina's climate, for example, is macro. The microclimate is on a very local scale, even to the point of it being what the climate is like underneath the tree that is being shaded out. So we have two different types. Macro is very large, micro is very tiny. Now, there's often factors that affect ecology and climate and everything else, and they can be either abiotic or biotic. Abiotic means that it is not living. Biotic means it is living. So let's go over to biotic first. Biotic factors would be other organisms that live in the area, people, human, cats, dogs, etc. Abiotic, however, are non-living things like temperature, water, salinity, the amount of light, soil. So, for example, temperature is going to affect different organisms differently. So it may affect me differently than it does a plant. The amount of water available is also going to do the same, the amount of sunlight, etc. Next, when we talk about ecology, we often break them down into biomes. Now, these are the major life zones. I've got a picture down here in the bottom right that kind of shows you where the different biomes are throughout the world. They're different colors, shaded-wise. Now, they're based on vegetative type or physical environment. The vegetative type is the terrestrial or the land biomes. The physical environment itself is the aquatic zones. Now, there's a few terms here I want to make sure you know. If you hear anything about a canopy, it's talking about the top layer of the trees. I often think about this in the tropical rainforest where you have these great big trees growing and they have a canopy that actually shades out the below vegetation. So the higher up you are, the more advantageous it is. Photic and aphotic. Photic means it's in the light region, the upper region of the water. Aphotic means it's in the darker region. You have a benthic zone, which is where your detritus feeders live, down at the bottom. It could even be anaerobic down at the bottom. You often might hear of something called a thermocline. This is whenever you go down and dive into water, you have a drastic temperature change. You know, if you go down swimming, sometimes you can feel this yourself in the ocean or in a river. Now, the last thing I want to do is a hierarchy of sorts. Now, up here at the top, we have a hierarchy. Now, this is basically within an organism itself. You know, you go from organelle to cells. So a group of cells work together to make a tissue. A group of tissues make an organ, to an organ systems, to an organism. But really what we're focusing here in ecology is at the bottom. You have an organism, a group of organisms that are the same make a species, a group of species that live together make a population. Different populations, animals, plants, etc. live together make a community. Those communities make ecosystems. Ecosystems make the biomes, and eventually the biosphere, which is the entire planet where living things survive, where living things live. Anyway, this is a brief overview of ecology. I hope this helps, and I will talk to you very soon.